Hi everyone. Today I would like to share some thoughts on a history lesson plan on the topic of the Black Death in Florence. I got this lesson plan from Stanford History Education Group, and I would like to go over it. First, the teachers will propose a central historical question, which is how did the Black Death affect Florence, Italy? I consider this is an essential question because it's very complex and abstract, and students cannot answer in very short sentences, and it's hard to give a comprehensive um, answer at once. Um, I think it's a great start for the lesson because it's the central of the whole content. And it would be really hard for low proficiency learners to give an answer at the beginning of the lesson. So some of the materials that are given out as handouts are two student handouts, which first is an evaluating evidence paper, and the second one is the Florentine Chronicle paper. I think the evaluating evidence paper will introduce dense discussion among the student group, while the Florentine Chronicle will have a dense context learning curve. It also comes with an assessment. So assessments usually come with multiple choice and short answer. Multiple choice tests for comprehension of language and content, while short answers test for students' production of written language. I also like that the assessment come with answer keys because the teachers will know what they are going to expect from students through this learning experience. As you can see, it also aligns the lesson plan with Common Core standards, and as you can see that this is appropriate for grade 6 and above. Now let's go into the plans. The first step is the teacher provides an excerpt from a classroom textbook and explain it. I highlighted the excerpt here because classroom textbooks are usually very dense, and I like the idea that the teacher is pulling out a part of it as to talk about it in the class. The teacher will be reading the excerpt with the classroom, so this is a practice of sound symbol correspondence that helps students to comprehend the content. The teacher will also be discussing with students some questions, such as what was the Black Death and how did it affect Europe. Now, teacher has the control of the information flow, so the teacher can ask probing questions to stimulate low proficiency learners to answer more because the teacher has control of when to ask and when to solicit answers. I opened, here's the original document of the excerpt. As you can see, it's very dense. So I would also imagine the teacher can do, activities such as choose a sentence by picking out one of the sentence to explain, to help the students comprehend the core idea of the passage and to grasp the keenness, the key words, and so on. The second step is to work on the evaluating evidence handouts, and the students are expected to work in pairs. This is a great activity because students now has control of the information flow, and they can be practicing interactions, which is also one of the components of SROP guidance. Now let's take a look at evaluating evidence handout. As you can see that it has a very clear instruction here, and if I were the teacher, I would be giving very detailed instructions ahead of the time. First, the students are asked to evaluate and consider each piece of the evidence, and then they are going to write down yes or no to say if they think the information is reliable or not, and they would also need to explain answers. I think to scaffold low proficiency learners here, it would be beneficial if the teachers can provide a potential use of sentence stems and sentence structures ahead of time and vocabularies, such as sentence structures such as A is more trustworthy than B because da 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 so on. It will really help these people everyone to speak up. Going back to the steps, after working in pairs, the students will be reviewing the answers together in class. Here, I really like the answers that the lesson plan gave out. It's not a right or wrong question, but it's more an expectation check. Like it points out what the teacher needs to know as the core content to teach in class. For example, the teacher needs to know that the student understands the distinction between fiction and nonfiction through comparing the evidences. The fourth step, which is to work on the Florentine Chronicle handouts. Here, the students are asked to work individually, and it also comes with discrete steps for instructions. First, the student need to read the source note first and ask themselves a question. Again, let's take a look at this file. Here is the rather short passage that the students need to read that is related to Black Death. I like that here it points out the glossary that the student might find hard to comprehend, such as vast, and it also gives a synonym here to help students to grasp the meaning. This would be a point where the students can build up their vocabulary knowledge scale. As you can see that it also asks questions such as the short ones, such as when was the Black Death? And this is a type of question of transformation of information, and students can go back to the passage to find out where the answer is. It also asks short answer questions, so the students will be asked to produce longer written discourse. In the end, the students also need to have a reflection and discussion. I really like it here because the lesson plan estimates what might be frustrating from the course. As you can see here, it said students may be frustrated at the notion that not all sources can be considered unreliable, and it gives the concept of the skill of corroboration, which is a very abstract and complex concept for grade 6 and above. Here it uses the component of practice and application, where the students can put what they learn from evaluating evidence to a harder skill, to practice a harder skill. Last but not least, let's look at assessment. Here you can see again the students are provided with a short passage and they are expected to answer multiple choice and short answers. This is the use of SLP component of review and assessment. Here they reviewed key vocabulary and key concepts, and I think this is a great opportunity to collect student data and for later use, and also is an opportunity for the teacher to give detailed feedbacks back to the students. Thank you for listening.